microaggressions in the workplace, and how work culture can sometimes be, I'd say toxic. And you've created a game out of that toxicity. What were you thinking?
It is a modern horror narrative adventure game. So think Get Out meets Severance.
Oh, oh, that's
This
interesting.
is diabolical. Like you actually made actual like a horror element of like at work. Like, HR
Oh,
is diabolical.
Hello, hey everyone, and welcome in. It's your girl Creatively Anzi, and welcome in to the MG podcast. Today is a Dev Day podcast. We're very excited because we have a special guest with us. I am here with almost the full team. I'm here with Oji Otaku,
yay.
Obsidian Fury,
What's going on, gang?
and In the Dark.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
And we have a very special guest with us, Mac, who is the founder of a game called Clock Out 2. And I will go to Mac so he can tell you all about this game. Mac, over to you.
Hey, thank you for having me. My name is Mac Kindima, founder and narrative designer for Clock Out at 2. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talking more about the game.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mac. As you guys know, as part of our dev days, we interview, talk to different developers who are creating different games in the gaming space, indie, AA, AAA, all that sort of thing. And we are very interested in Clock Out 2, which is a game that I've taken a look at, and it talks about, I guess, microaggressions in the workplace. If I'm to say that correctly, I'm going to go to Max soon so he can explain properly. But I think everyone here knows about microaggressions in the workplace, and how work culture can sometimes be, I'd say toxic. And you've created a game out of that toxicity. What were you thinking?
Yeah, that's you're spot on. And so, I think a lot of people we talk about the trauma in childhood, talk about the trauma in war, but we don't often talk about the trauma in a workplace, right? At work, a terrible boss, terrible coworker can really change how you see the world. And when we were making the game, right? Uh, you know, we were talking about how tough work is, and we finally was like, hey, there's not a game like this. There's not a game for us, by us. Let's make it. So that's kind of some of the origin behind it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And so, can you tell us a little bit about the game? Because we keep talking around the game, but what's like the blurb of the game? If you were to describe it to somebody, like, what is this game about?
So basically, you are a minority and you must survive the workday while maintaining your mental health. Otherwise, if you lose your cool, you get sent to HR. And of course, for us, right, for us melanated folks, right, HR is not our friend, right? And it is a modern horror narrative adventure game. So think Get Out meets Severance.
Oh, oh, that's
This
interesting.
is diabolical. Like you actually made actual like a horror element of like at work. Like, HR
Oh,
is diabolical. Like HR is no one's friend. Like I keep telling people keep like getting mistaken. Like, oh, I need to go to HR. I'm like, listen, HR is there to protect the company. It's not there to protect
Mm.
you. Like, please
yeah,
get this through
exactly.
your head. So now that I don't know what why you did this to us. Like you've like this is real horror. Like you've made a horror game like paying
Yeah.
bills. That's actual horror. Like then on top of that, there's also the fantasy element of like fighting supernatural
Mm.
creatures within that game. So can you tell us how exactly does the fantasy element as well as the grounded element of the HR and the microaggressions, how does that cross over within that game within your game?
Yeah, so I guess the best way to explain it is that I wanted to really mess with psychological horror, right? And one of the main things was perspective, right? When it comes to microaggressions, a lot of it is around perspectives because we can say this is our lived experience, but a lot of people will brush us off or gaslight us, right? They're like, oh, is it really like that? Is that different perspectives or your vision of the game changes, right? One example is the more microaggressions someone does to you, the more monster-esque they become. And then it is undeniable that, hey, they are doing these microaggressions. We're aware of it, right? It's not make believe. And throughout the game, it starts to mess with your mind. It starts to play around with your your perspective, because you also are going through a lot of trauma. And then, how trauma affects how we view the world, and also how we speak and interact with it will also be shown in the game.
So why exactly did you? Because from the way you're describing this game, this is like whenever it comes to these kinds of talks, when it comes to how like ethnic minorities within a certain space, whenever we're discussing these issues, it always feels that we're talking at a wall. So why do you think that the medium of a game is better to get that message across rather than like having an open discussion, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So I think video games are very powerful media. I think they're one of the most powerful because you can play a game and it can change your whole world, right? The main difference is, like, for example, I can go into a movie, I can watch like a kung fu movie, and then I'll come out like swinging and be like, I need to go fight somebody. Why? I don't know. But the movie has motivated me to go fight people, right? But with a game, right, it's not just one dimensional, right? I get some choice in how things play out. And because I have, that ability, right, it starts to really affect how how I behave in the real world, right? And so now I am like in a kung fu video game. Now I have a choice, right? Do I actually punch this person? Do I not punch them? If I punch them, then die, then what happens to their family? And so in the video game, right, you get to experience the 360-degree narrative of who you are, who they are, right? And so that's why I thought a video game would be very powerful in this sense, because I do want people to have that 360-degree narrative view of what happens in the workplace.
Now, one of the sorry guys, I might take all the time, but like I've read this. I saw roguelite, and these guys know me when it comes to difficult games. That is how I de-stress. So, how exactly does the roguelike element of the video game of your game interact with everything that you've discussed so far?
Yeah, and so one of the main aspects we wanted to play with is that, okay, it's a horror game. We don't want it to be just linear. So what can we do? We said, let's make it roguelite, right? And so what happens is that it's a circular narrative, right? And in the sense that you are reliving the day over and over again, trying to clock out at 2, and each and every time something new happens, right? And so maybe one time you talked to this one coworker, maybe you had a meeting and it was like delayed, which prevented you from leaving. We've all experienced this in real life, right? Where we said, hey, I wish I did things just a little bit differently. I wish I said things just a little bit differently. And so with the roguelite elements, right, you can now relive the day over and over again, fine-tuning your approach to work, so that you can survive the day and finally clock out at 2. And one of the other reasons is that we don't want to just traumatize our players, right? Of course, that's like a part of it, but we want to do healing as well, right? And so by reliving the day, we're also going to be introducing more self-care elements, right? And that self-care, some people don't really know how to take care of themselves. Some people will just like work, 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 straight power through, and then they're not good, right? To be honest, right? And so I also want people who play the game to gain an awareness of, this is how you take care of yourself, or this is how you survive in a workplace, and these are some ways to do it.
Okay.
No, I'm just gonna say it's a good way to get people to understand certain elements if you're trying to teach them on, like, how to better improve their workday, because like you said, reliving a workday, you may find some stuff and think, I could apply this to my own workday. Maybe, we all go work and we just get in, and I'm sure we just go with the flow until we end up clocking out But maybe if we thought of our day as a whole, planned it out a bit, we might have a smoother ride. And I can see how this helps. Sorry, Anzi, I do have a question for Mac. Like,
Hmm.
looking at Clock Out 2, I really think I don't know, from what you've told me about the game, I think you've nailed the artistic style here. Like, I'm really liking the aesthetic. I just wanted to know what troubles or what was your process in coming to this style to bring your game idea to life, basically.
Yeah, so I have to thank my amazing artist. So her name is Selena. So she did the main character designs, and then followed by Tanya, who did all the different backgrounds. And so with Selena, she has a big background in like animation, art, and she specializes in horror. And when I was talking to her about this, just for like FYI, the game was actually created from a game jam. So there was a game
Okay.
jam, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's called Spooktober, and it was about horror. And so initially, I'm sorry, don't worry, full circle, full circle.
Yes.
So, so initially, the game was actually supposed to be a fantasy horror about how microaggressions or isms become reality. So basically, your thoughts become reality, and I wanted to do something about like racism, sexism, and what happens is that racism becomes reality. It's already a reality, but it becomes manifested into these monsters, and they hunt the things that they're supposed to be against, right? So you have racism monsters will attack you based on how much melanin you have in your skin, right? And so that was like one of the premises, the original premises. However, while we were working on the game, Selena was unfortunately going through some real world microaggressions where she had, a boomer boss. She had a quote unquote ally, who said, "Oh yeah, yeah, no, I feel you. I understand where you're coming from," but they never put their, skin in the game, and it was really taking its toll on her during the game jam. So I was like, you know what? Let's pivot. I want to do something for you. Let's kind of change it into like a modern horror, and that's kind of how Clock Out at 2 was born. And from her suggestion, there's a game called Omori, right? And
Mhm.
Omori is like a Japanese game, and the art style is very simple but impactful, right? And for something like a game jam where you only have a certain amount of time, that was the perfect style that we wanted to go for,
Right.
in that time frame.
Nice, nice.
Nice, nice.
Because I don't know, it's definitely giving me like if Cartoon Network done a show of this one, I could see it happening. Like it's a
Mm-hmm.
nice design.
Thank you,
I'm
thank you.
always one for what you call it. But Anzi, you had a question before, I think, before we got. That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm. Absolutely. So, great minds think alike. And so, when people were playing the game, we actually had a few. So, we had a workshop here. So, there's a group called Tokyo Black Professionals, and we had a group here that I showed the game to. But we also had it in collaboration with an HR workshop, right? And so once we did that, it got a lot of people thinking, hey, this would be great to use as some kind of training tool, right? And so since then, we've been kind of working on the how can I explain it? The VC version of this. So venture capitalists. And so we have the traditional game, clock out at 2. You know, it's on Steam. You know, you can sell it, maybe do some DLC, things like that. And then we have the more kind of like scalable model where we're calling it borderless modules. And what it is it's gamifying HR training modules, right? So I bet a lot of people have done onboarding.
Yeah.
You know, you watch videos, you take quizzes, you get access, you stay in compliance, at least just on paper. But how much of that do you actually remember, right? You know, if
Mm.
someone quizzed you, be like, "Oh, what'd you watch?" Be like, "I don't know," right? All I know is that I don't get any more emails harassing me. But a lot of those, you know, lessons are very important that we should be remembering. But you know, if it was gamified, right? If we could have characters, if we could make choices in the matter, right? Instead of, you know, cheesy, you know, videos or scenarios, I think those lessons would be a lot more impactful, right? And so right now we're creating these borderless modules, and yeah, so you're right on this, right on the money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Not that I get sent to HR, but if I ever did, I would much rather like play this.
Well, of course you would. You're getting sent to HR. If you're getting sent to
Yeah.
HR, then yeah. No,
Um,
I know, I know. I've been in. Actually, wait, how should I be saying this? I've been called to HR for a good thing. It wasn't for a bad
Oh,
thing. A good thing I got
okay.
sent. I thought it was bad. I felt like I was like on the way that I was racking my brain. Like, what have I done? Or what do they know that I've done that
mm.
I'm being sent to HR for? And it turns out like I won an award. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm
all right,
You-
yes. One of the rare times going to HR is a good thing. Yeah, all right.
exactly. So I was like, because me, I'm like, what have I done? What do they know about what I've done so far? So yeah, it's actually really interesting that they bring up the scalable boundless HR modules that you're bringing up, because
Mm,
there's definitely I can definitely see an avenue of potential when it comes to especially these kind of games, these kind of narrative games where they insert like you were saying before about how the games the medium, that interactive element for the player like informs you about your own personality. I think we've spoken a bit about this
mm,
previously with other people, but I think that funny enough, my parents probably raised me 60%, and the other 40% is video games with those situations where you're sitting down and you're thinking, should I kill this person who's like wronged
yes.
me for the entire game, or should I be the bigger person and get the good
Yeah,
guy end?
yeah.
Chances are he's getting a bullet, but it
Mhm.
informs me as a person about the kind of person that I am. So, and
Mm,
it's really interesting, like when we're discussing different kinds of like endings and things, when especially with us at MG, where we're just discussing different endings, and like it's really interesting seeing how your game could play into that aspect of like we as like minorities, we've kind of built our own ability to see microaggressions from the onset,
mm,
because it's very much a survival tactic for us. Whereas having to then try and explain that kind of impulse to others who don't have that instinct is
mhm.
very, very difficult. So I can tell, I don't have to tell you guys what a racist look is. You guys would just know it. Whereas trying to explain what a racist look is to someone who hasn't had the chance to build that kind of instinct, it's like
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm speaking in like
Mhm.
Mongolian.
Tongues.
Like
Yeah,
this is
exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're
yeah,
just
yeah, it's true. Yeah. So how do you bridge that gap in your game? So how do you the microaggressions, are they as transparent as in like you allow the player just to see it on the onset, or do you let it be as nefarious as it can come when it comes to like in reality as well?
yeah. So that so the game is still in development. So right now the demo is just out. But some key, I would say, key features that we play with is the environment, right? So one is the characters themselves. So more microaggressions, more monster-esque. We also have various stress levels. So the higher your stress level goes, the more things around you change. So it'll go from maybe like, let's say, blue to gray to red to just oh my god, right? And these visual cues really do help, paint that picture or to teach you that instinct that we have, right? We know what a racist looks like. We know what coded language is, right? These people, right? Thugs, right?
Yeah.
We hear these things and we're like, oh, right? Yeah, we feel it. We feel it, right? But for other people, it's like, oh, what's wrong with this? And
Mm.
so whenever there's coded language, we also highlight that as well. So giving people, hints. And so because I've taught before, I've taught like English before, I've taught programming before, and when it comes to teaching, it has to be in chunks, right? There's no way for us to really say, hey, here's this 2 hour workshop, and now you're good, right? And it has to be a built up experience, and it's the same way with the game, right? As you're working through the day, right, your experience is built up, and by doing that build up, I'm hoping that it can really increase your awareness, right, as you play the game.
Okay. That's cool. Like
It's
when
so
it comes to
intriguing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it feels like I'm gonna be this is like an actual horror because psychological because when I saw psychological horror, I immediately thought of like Darkest Descent, where it's in your mind, it's like the environment changes around you, and it's like your insanity bar just goes down as the
Mm,
day progresses, and then you've now told me it's like Groundhog Day, where it's like I'm gonna be repeating the same day over and over again, like quite literally the phrase of like doing the same thing over and over again and going crazy, expecting a different outcome. So yeah, it sounds really interesting to get my hands on when
mm,
it comes to game features. And I've also seen some of the like features that you've had in it. So like you have like 50,000 words of non-repetitive text and multiple endings. So knowing me, I'm gonna get the worst ending because I'm probably gonna go. I shouldn't joke about this, but I'm probably gonna go postal in the workplace because I'll just burn it all down because I'm tired. So
I
it's gonna
see
be really
multiple playthroughs are a thing, so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
feel free to do
Yeah.
both.
yeah,
mm,
and you get that freedom, right? I think that's one of the things I really want to emphasize is that it's your choice, right? Um,
Yes.
Good, bad, what is good and bad, right? How you decide to survive the day is up to you because, like you said, we're repeating the same thing over and over again, hoping for different results. But sometimes that's how work is, right? Sometimes, like I'm well aware of the insanity that I'm doing, but because I got bills to pay, I'm in it, right? I got to keep it going.
yep. Jesus, that's like that's actual work. Oh no. Hopefully my boss doesn't see this. Right, Anzi? Yeah, I'm gonna feel that one
Oh.
later. Yeah. I'm definitely going to HR after that one.
Oh.
Oh no. Okay, sorry. I'll reel it in. Don't worry.
Out of Two is my first game of Borderless Studios, and so how can I explain this? Let's see. So so beyond. Hold on. Let me do. All right. So first, I am a part of a collective called Melanated Game Kitchen. And it is founded by a guy named Tim, and he is a person who is a big believer of the African diaspora and also about creating and curating games by melanated people for melanated people. And in this collective, they have several different game jams. And the game jams are usually revolving around cultural food. And so, like, maybe it'll be a plantain game jam, maybe it'll be an okra game jam. And so, when I joined the collective maybe 3 years ago, that's when I first got my taste in game development. And so, for example, I ended up making a game about Spirit Ranger, and think of like Avatar: The Last Airbender meets, kind of like the West African folklore, right? Where you must heal your family ancestral pain in order to save the world, right? We also made another game called Bass Reeves, right? Law and Judgment. So if you're familiar with Bass Reeves, he was a very first African American lawman. And for that, so for Spirit Ranger, I got to be a narrative designer. For the Bass Reeves game, I was also narrative designer and game designer, right? So in these small projects, I've been able to gain experience. And then when we did another game jam, so this is a separate one from Melanin Game Kitchen, but when I joined that one, that was just the horror one, and in that horror one is Selena and myself, and then I needed some help, and so some of the people who I did other game jams with in the Melanin Game Kitchen, they were like, "Hey, this sounds like a great idea. Let's join in." And so they've been helping me a lot with the project, right? And so I hope I answered your question. So yes, so it is. That's kind of how the development process worked. And then Melanin Game Kitchen is Black BIPOC creative devs around the world.
Community as well.
Really? Again, just a testament to how important things like games jams are, like, in-person events of creators meeting up and just networking. Because I'm sure, like, all the skills that you developed through those multiple games jams that you've taken part in are what's at use now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's I also will you know microphone the game jams, right? If you are someone who has always been interested in games, who wants to, get a taste, game jams is where you should go. One, you build skills. Two, you get great networking. Three, you get something actual for your portfolio.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of people know this, but sometimes you may have a degree and you may come out and then they say, "Where's that experience?" And you go,
Uh-huh.
I've been working on my degree. I ain't really got my portfolio built up yet." But games jams and things like that are exactly how you do that while studying, or even if you're not. It's just a great place to meet, network, and get some core skills that you really won't have a chance to get other places unless, sometimes you get lucky.
Mm,
But yeah, no, it's great to hear that like games jams are such a core foundation of like, everything you've done to what's coming out now. Like Clock Out at 2 is like, yeah, like, from a games jam, crazy.
right.
It's not actually so unheard of. Like, there's loads of games that have come from game jams as well, but we don't like the juggernaut of like the AAA industry. They always like like to push the marketing, but loads of games like I think not Overcooked. There was one game. There's an indie game that came out aside from the one that we're actually talking about today, which is going to be coming out. But there's been
Mm,
games that have been coming out from game jams, and it's really interesting. Like Max said, you can't express it enough how much game jams are actually important because like a lot of these companies they want to hire straight out of university and they want 45 years of experience, and it's like, what am I going to do here? So it's like,
yeah, exactly. Like I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
literally just became an adult. Like, what do you mean experience?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know how to pay taxes. Like, what's going on here? So it's literally like, so I'm always going to be an advocate for game jams, and especially game jams where they're more beginner friendly. They let people who have like zero game experience come in and say that, oh, I don't even know how to turn on my PC. How do I start game? So it's like I'm always an advocate for that.
Yeah.
So, and it's also like the power, because you spoke about the power of community, where you literally had people who you could like lean on, rely on when it comes to achieving the vision of what you wanted your game to be. So it's really nice hearing that you're all the way in Tokyo and still the community is strong over there for us. So yeah, it's good to hear. You can't. It's impossible. Apple, when it comes
It's
to video
true.
games, yeah.
Uh,
Max, speak on it. When it comes to
I,
Apple,
I've been developing. I'm telling you, even I have to apologize because I have a Windows, right? I'm a Mac, but I don't have a Mac. And so whenever we're developing, I'm like, I pray this works. Nothing has been tested at
Yeah,
all. I'm just like, I'm just going to believe. I'm just going to believe.
yeah.
That
Nice,
is like
nice.
half the battle when it comes to like when they say every game's a miracle, they mean it. They're not talking hyperbole. They're not like
Mhm.
talking like some kind of dream. It's a genuine miracle to make sure
Mhm.
games are released.
Yeah. So I'm always available on LinkedIn. So feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I'm always hanging around the Melanated Game Kitchen. So if you're interested in Game Jam, we're actually having a Game Jam maybe now or soon. So I can send you guys a link. And then of course Blue Sky. So Blue Sky, Mac, BT Games. Maybe that's how it is. I'll send you the correct links. That.
Yeah.
And that's the best place to find all the Clock Out at 2 updates as well. But yeah, so thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Nah,
thank
Mac, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, sorry, Mac, as
Yeah.
OG Attacky of Melanin Gamers, I would be amiss if I didn't ask you. One anime, go on, recommend one anime. Last anime you seen that
Uh,
you liked.
I mean, yeah, you're in
ooh,
Japan, so
That's not
yeah.
fair. I
that
want to ask
is,
some questions.
Yeah.
let me see. Oh man, so it kind of depends on what you like, right?
Yeah. No,
So
just
I'm
the
a big
last one
fan.
you watched that
Nah,
you
no,
liked.
that's
Yeah.
a real
Oh,
anime fan. He was like, "What genre do you want, bro?"
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I know. He said, ooh,
um,
ooh, ooh.
I got everything. I got everything for you. I got, I
You can do a couple. You can do a couple if you don't want to settle on just
um.
one, because that is hard.
So let's see. I've been watching. So right now, like, which is really interesting, is that the China has been like pretty up with like anime. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
one called Hero Tribe X, which is a
yeah, yeah.
Chinese
Yeah,
animation.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you okay? You know about it? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Taki, don't worry.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So about it.
So that's been really interesting to watch.
The
And then of course you
animation for
have.
that one.
It's good, right?
It's
It's
good.
like I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I
Yeah.
was surprised." Solo leveling, right?
Of course, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Of
Yeah,
course,
All
yeah,
right,
yeah.
I'm talking to the right people. All right, let me see. Let me give you one more. Let me give you one more. Let's see. One is called, what is it called? I have you Edge Runner. Have you heard of Cyberpunk Edge Runner?
Oh
oh yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Okay,
a
okay,
massive
okay. Yep.
cyberpunk fan as well. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yep. I was I,
But
I
no,
was I was hoping.
those excellent choices.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm
10
not gonna
stars
lie.
So
Edge
definitely.
Runner blindsided me. I was here for like vibes, and then I get smacked around. What's going on with Edge Runner?
some
Crazy.
vibes are heavier than others. Oh. But yeah, if you guys are
Yeah, yeah.
ever in Tokyo or anyone else is in Tokyo, feel free to send me a message. I'm happy to give a tour. Just make sure to get me a lunch. I don't mind.
Yeah,
We'll hold you
sure,
to that,
for
bro.
sure. Yeah,
We'll hold you
Oh
to
no,
that.
no. I've had tons of melanated people, different kinds of people come up to me and be like, "Hey, I'm in town. Can we meet up for coffee?" And yeah, we meet up for coffee, and I give them a tour, and I act as an interpreter, and yeah, it's always a good time.
You can speak the language, Jesus. I need to
definitely. Yeah, that's great.
That's cool.
It's plans.
Ah, okay, okay.
It's plans.
Man,
Make it out of
I'm
one
serious
story.
right
You know
now.
what I mean? Like,
Say no, say no more. Say no more. I hear you.
Yeah. I'm here for Team MG in the game jam. That's all I'm here for.
You
Sorry,
said T in Game Jam?
yeah, Team MG in the game jam. That's what I'm here
Oh,
for.
Team MG in the Game Jam. Okay, okay.
yeah,
I
I'm here
was
for the
like, I'm here
sweet.
for T too.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah, no, it's just clock out at 2. But yeah, you can add whatever you need to. It's fantastic.
I'm making all the wrong choices in that game for the toxic environment.
yeah.
There are no right choices. Oh no, I'm just playing. I'm just.
Bro, I will find them because I'm going to put them. I'll find
Oh man.
Keep it OG peeps.
them in a bit, gang.
Stay safe, guys.
Thank you guys.